Stop dreaming. This is crap. Fool! I have nothing to say to you.
So my name is Jinna Mutune. I'm a multicultural filmmaker. So I try and use my African culture, first my Kenyan culture, my East African culture, and generally the African culture to tell a story that can be understood globally. I was really tired of the one perspective of Africa that kept being shown around the world, including back to Kenyans. There was just the war, poverty, crime, stricken stories that were being told. And I had lived in Africa for 19 years, and I had seen a different Africa, and that's the Africa I wanted to show.
Stop being a bag of bones. Man up! What's wrong with you?
I think this is childish and stupid.
You need to throw away these childish things and focus on your education.
So it's a story about a Maasai boy who thinks he's a superhero and how he goes about daring that dream in Nairobi city, which is a metropolitan city in Africa. And so you have a mixture of things going on. I mean, it's a drama story. It's a story about courage. It's a story about a boy daring his dream. You know, there's so many themes running in the film. You know, the whole idea of the power of the dream, the power of a dream in an African boy. You know, the whole idea of family. You know, the whole idea of courage. You know, the father and son relationship. We explored that. So yeah.
It protects the citizens of New York. It picks up the dirt and it becomes a mighty sword in his hand, or a wind that twirls his enemies.
When I was 8 years old, of course, we were growing up with African literature about legendary warriors who were like superhuman, you know. But also, we were watching global TV, which had superheroes like Spider-Man, you know. So I remember at 8 years old, my best friend and I thought we were superheroes. So we went about trying our superpowers. So I think that inspired me subconsciously. But yeah, I mean, and I think the whole idea of everyone wants to be something greater than what they are. So I thought that's a theme that runs around the whole world.
Dedan Kimathi, Mzee Jomo Kenyatta, Tom Mboya, Wangari Maathai, all these people are heroes. They all knew what they want to be.
So who are the real superheroes in the African continent? If I look in general, Nelson Mandela, the change he has done in the continent, you know, bring it down to Kenya. You're looking at Tom Mboya, you know, Dedan Kimathi, our veteran heroes, Wangari Maathai, the Nobel Peace and environmentalist, you know, who has pioneered so much in the environment and for women. She's a real superhero to me. And any Kenyan or any African who's willing to dare their dream, instead of complaining about how things are not working, the person who's going out and making a difference, that person is a superhero to me.
What if you have a supernatural ability? One you haven't yet discovered.
There was a general, I can say a little hesitation on the film because the film was not fitting in the African stereotypes of filmmaking. We were not, quote unquote, kind of Nollywood film. We were not fitting in the general stereotypes of either it's crime or overly religious overtones. So there was a little hesitation, but the response has been tremendous. Also because of the African Renaissance movement that is going on in the arts, that we want to tell a different story. And this African Renaissance is affecting everything from the economical perspective all the way to the arts. You know, there's just a new sense of pride, a new sense of wanting Africa to be identified outside, quote unquote, the charity continent to a place of innovation and invention. And so that energy is very vibrant. And I think for the last 4 years, it's just been picking momentum. And so back to Binyavanga and how he wrote the book on how to write about Africa. I was privileged when I came back from my schooling in South Africa to do a small internship with Kwani, which is the book series that Binyavanga started. And of course, so spending time with someone like that really affects your thought pattern. So, I mean, How to Write About Africa, he was challenging the stereotypes that have been created about Africa, you know. And I don't think, I mean, I made it, I was successful in executing all that in Leo, but a part of what he was saying and his strain of philosophies have influenced me as an artist. So I do consider him as one of the mentors that I've been privileged to have.
Your mother tells me you're asking questions. Do you like girls?
I grew up in a very multicultural house. In that, my parents, my mom was a banker and my dad was a financial officer. And I'm the youngest of 5 siblings, and they were all studying outside the country. At the time, I thought I was going to be a filmmaker. All I had to do, there were no art schools, so there were little church platforms where I was being trained in the art, and that's where art was being allowed to be practiced. So I did my plays in the churches and stuff. But as I grew older, by the time I was turning 17, I knew for a fact that I wanted to be a film director. So I ended up in Arts Film Drama Association in Cape Town. And that was my best experience ever in film school. I mean, they pushed us, you know. We had to read African literature and analyze that and write back book reports on that. So that rich African book diet kind of helped me to understand how to, as a writer, how to paint that against how to paint a story against an African culture.
I'd like to be an artist.
An artist?
An engineer.
An engineer?
An architect.
An architect?
I'd like to be a doctor.
Any African child who has a dream that's bigger than themselves, those are the ones I'm for. I'm like, go for it. That one day we will read about African children being astronauts or pioneering the next invention. I don't know what it is. My advice for them is that it's a journey. I remember my mom and my dad always emphasizing that to me, that one, if you're going to do this thing, Jinna, you're going to work hard. It's a step-by-step thing. Begin doing the small thing, perfect it, move to the next step. You know, so have patience. Be patient with yourself. Be open to make mistakes. I mean, there's so many things, even in Leo. I mean, there's still mistakes I'm learning as I continue in the dream journey. So, yeah. Dream. I'm absolutely passionate about Africa. I believe it's the season for innovation and invention for Africa. I'm optimistic, absolutely, 100% point one on the fact that there's a lot to be done in Kenya. The young people are just coming up with so much energy and hope and the dedication to ensure that systems are put in place. I mean, there's so much to pioneer in Africa. We have great resources, we have beautiful landscapes, and we have beautiful people. So, yeah, I think it's the greatest time to be African right now.